Welcome. This is the follow-up material for the second session of the Reiki Way. Maybe when you first look at the Reiki Precepts, which we're going to look at just now, they may not seem very appealing. They may seem rather like the 10 Commandments or something, and that's completely understandable, but it isn't how it's meant to be. So if you'd like to just settle comfortably, and bit by bit I'll take you through and explain that really this is an ancient understanding that has been put here for you in a way that will draw your understanding through from seeing the life through the mind to resting in your truth, in your heart. And the words of the precepts are doing just that, but the translation comes across as slightly different. So I'm hoping you will really feel this truth. So it starts off here with the secret of inviting happiness through many blessings. And that's exactly what is meant, like just said, is your true happiness is always here for you, and it can just not be seen because the activity of the mind is getting in the way of that. And this understanding is the secret of inviting happiness through many blessings. And then it says, the spiritual medicine for all illnesses. And this means that anything in the mind that is apparently wrong and not what it should be, when it's seen as that and allowed just to be as it is, just to rest, and the attention is withdrawn from problems and difficulties and what other people are like, when the attention's withdrawn from these things and comes to this place inside where there's just the energy of existence, and this radiates of itself. And then it's seen that these things are not really of such importance from here. And in some way, the very energy of resting in this place here, it radiates some energy that's all-inclusive and forgiving of its own accord, and very often this can change the outside appearances that were causing disturbance in the first place. And this is the same with physical problems, physical pain and illnesses that when we give a lot of attention to, say, something simple like a headache, it seems to reinforce the presence of that headache. But when attention is withdrawn and rests in this place of existence and being, the need to keep up with the outside world falls away. And with that need to keep up with the outside world lifting, it feels like a great weight is lifting from the shoulders, from the one who has to keep up with the world. And in this place there's a relaxing. It's not you relaxing, it's just naturally the body itself is not under so much pressure, the mind is not under so much pressure, and a lot of pain associated with stress will fall of itself, will fall by the wayside. So that's why it says the spiritual medicine for all illness. And then the next line says, just for now, which is sometimes translated just for today. But what its meaning is, in your experience, moment by moment, these precepts, these Reiki precepts, are for your support right this moment, and this moment, and this moment, like this. It's not meaning, it's not like a New Year's resolution. I will in the future get round to doing these things. It's not like that. It's like right now just seeing this truth. And when you see this truth, then all these issues with the world will fall away for you. So then we come on to the first precept itself, and it sounds like a command: lay aside anger, or even worse in many translations, not, it says do not anger. And again, this can sound like a commandment: do not, or as I put here, lay aside anger. But what is being meant is see for yourself that when you're living your life through your mind, this mind is totally engaged with and believing in the outside world. And because it's sort of shut in the box with the outside world, it's overwhelmed with the outside world, and there's no space for it to feel this energy of its own existence. It's totally, in a claustrophobic way, glued to reacting to the outside world. And because it's cut off from its real source of of peace and its own energetic source of existence. Because it's cut off from this, it's fearful. So this fearful mind feels like it has to act in ways that are not really supportive of truth, of the peace and the real strength of its own existence. The mind feels like through fear, it's necessary to act and react in ways that aren't supportive, such as anger, which is the one mentioned here, but is also all sorts of outward projections of this fearful mind. So it can be things like gossiping and judging other people and bullying and anything really. It's just an outward projection of the fear in the mind. So the precepts are asking you just to watch for these outward projections of fear, not to judge them, to judge yourself or to judge other people, but to understand that these projections of fear are coming from a mind that is disconnected from its true source of self, and that when it is connected with its true source of self, this fear will gradually subside, and then these things will stop of their own accord. You can't, with the mind, prevent the mind from being angry. You can stop it from projecting the anger outwards, but then it's just projecting it inwards, and that is not a help to anybody. So it's not a case of trying to stop being angry or whatever projection it is. It's just a case of seeing, this is what the mind does when it feels disconnected. And so the only thing needed is this spiritual medicine for all illnesses, is turning the attention round, withdrawing it inwards, and being here in your true self. And the Reiki audio treatment that you just had, I hope, this is using the first Reiki tool, and this first Reiki tool is just this. It's a tool for turning the attention away from the outside world and remaining in your peace here. So now it's clear then that the second precept is lay aside anxiety, and anxiety is just an example of inward projection of fear. So anxiety, it can be jealousy or envy, but also things like eating disorders and depression. They all come from this fear of, sometimes it feels like a fear of abandonment, of being cut off again from the source of your own power, of your own existence, of your energy that is supporting and nourishing everything, the whole material world and the space between the material objects. It's all arising in this energy, made of this energy, and subsiding to this energy, that you are this. So if you suffer from anxiety or any inward projections of fear, once again, these things are not really cured by trying not to feel like that. The one medicine for this is to leave the mind behind and turn and be here in your inner space. And the next precept is guidance for this turning away from the outside world towards your inward space and peace. And it's put here, be thankful. And sometimes it's translated, be humble. And all this is saying is, it's about this turning around from facing the world through the mind, which is engendering fear, is turning round. And maybe we could put it to say like looking towards the heart instead. So that turning around has been put, be thankful, because you cannot be truly thankful for anything and be looking with fear. You have to be looking with your heart space to be thankful. And the same, you could say, be grateful. It's the same. And also, be humble is the same, because the mind likes to take ownership, take authority, because it feels it has to do this, because it feels under siege, it feels separate, and it feels like it has to sort the life. And so it takes authority to itself. So when it says be humble, all it means is just leaving that authority and turning to your heart space, which is open and non-judgmental. So I don't put be humble because there's a feeling like it's telling you to be less than others, when everyone is equal. We all the beings and all the life, everything is equal. So it's no being less or more than anything else. It's all just the one existence. So that's the only reason for not putting be humble. So then the next precept is be true to your heart. And here again, it's like a journey. We've gone from outward expression of fear to inward expression of fear to being thankful. And so turning round and facing our true energy of existence. And so it's put here, be true to your heart, which is meaning that the life can be lived according to what feels right in your being, in your essence, rather than the life lived through the mind is so often trying to fulfill the expectations that you have, or the expectations other people have of you, or even more insidious is trying to fulfill the expectations we think other people have of us. It's a subtle point, but here is one pit of disaster, is trying to fulfill the expectations we think other people have of us. And this is a way not to be happy. So being true to your heart means just leaving all this mind expectations and feeling this happiness and this feeling of being enough as you are. And from here, peace will radiate. And the things in the life will be cared for. And there's care for everyone and everything. But staying here in this peace, you are firmly established in your own joy. And this is here for you. So this is being true to your heart. And a little extra note is being true to your heart and not trying to be good. So sometimes being true to your heart, the mind might judge it, oh, that's not good. But if it's truly where your heart lies, then the mind judgments about what's good and what's bad can be left to one side, because if you're truly following your heart, no harm can come to anyone or anything. This will care for everything. It's fine to follow your heart. So the very last precept is be compassionate to yourself and others. And this is put last of all because you cannot have compassion if you have judgment. They're like opposites. So judgment is a functioning of brain. It's a judging tool. It cuts, sorts, divides, stacks. So when the mind is left to one side and you're here and there's no judgment, compassion naturally radiates of itself. There's no need to be compassionate. You are compassion itself in the very non-judgmental way of not coming through the mind. Compassion is here. It's really just the natural landing point of this journey of just for now, just in each moment, just seeing where you are on this journey of outward expression of fear or fear turned inward, maybe pain or feeling lonely or whatever's there for you, but then turning this round to being thankful and seeing the beauty that's here and being true to your heart. And compassion then is naturally arising, and it's seen that something like lonely is a judgment of the mind. Because how can you be lonely when you are all that is? So not having attention from what at the moment appears to be other people is just a mind judgment. There's just happiness here. And I hope you will be living, you are living in this joy. Namaste. Thank you for listening.